What's good, people? Uncle Hotep back at it again. How's everybody doing? I want to shout out to my man. Hit me up on Twitter. Said somebody did a one of those reaction videos to one of my videos. What?
I'm just surprised it took you so long to find it. I mean, after all, my comment noting the review's existence and the subsequent sub-comment linking it has been the second most popular comment on your video since I posted it 6 months ago. It's also called a video response or review, not a reaction video. I actually put some research and planning into what I do. I don't just merely watch a video and then talk shit for a little bit and pretend that's an argument. Note that whilst I shared my video with you, nowhere did you even attempt to do the same. I only caught on to your response when 4 of your goons came over to claim that I'd been triggered by you. Apparently making an academic response to misinformation now qualifies as being triggered. I mean, honestly, from all the random spiteful shit they're saying in the comment section of your new video, I honestly thought more of them would have come over and tried to pwn me or whatever, yet it seems that, like you, they almost appear a little afraid of me. Anyway, do continue.
But I did a video about they're having trans children day camp. Now, my whole thing, I think the gist of my video was, now y'all can go check it out. What I was trying to say, I think we need to take a step back as a society and find out why this is happening more frequently. Now, I am one to acknowledge that transhumanism or genders, whatever not humanism, transgenders has taken place in mankind's history centuries before.
At least 10,000 years, but hey, it's not like accuracy actually matters in discussion about, evidence.
There's plenty, and this guy, he spends half his video, giving out the sites and references, citations of this happening. I agree with that. Yes, I agree with that. My point is, why is it, I think it's happening more frequently. And it's not just, you see, they try to hide under their cover that it's just safer and more of them coming out. That's true to a certain degree. But now it's if the number they're trying to say is one, like, I don't know, 1 out of every 100, I don't know, 100,000 or something like that, it's way more than that now. You know what I mean? Now, if you have to understand, and what I was trying to get at is that the powers that be, if they know if they can replicate things that happen in human, the course of human, what's the word for it? The course of human evolution or thought life. You know what I mean? If they could figure out how this can, and they could exploit this. That's what I'm trying to get at. Now, I may be wrong, I may be right, but I'm trying to spark that thought. You know what I'm saying? But let's listen to some of this stuff, man.
So on what basis do you assert any of that? Note in my original video how I utilized my video description to supply sources, both historical as well as peer-reviewed journal articles, where necessary. Compare it to yours and I see just a bunch of social networking links and that's it. No references, no science, not even a bloody Daily Fail article. Nothing. And yet, rather humorously, many of the commenters on your video seem to be suggesting that I'm misinformed, deluded, or even outright insane. And I hate to borrow the language which is so often misapplied for a slur against anyone who disagrees, but they seem to have formed this perfect echo chamber surrounding your channel which is completely impervious to fact. They hear what you assert and just accept it. I would never allow that on my subscribers. I'd rather terminate my channel than let it get to that point. is just that, a cheap way to assert something to cast doubt, yet not supply actual evidence. If you don't know, why are you opening your mouth? Ignorance is not
because I'm asking the question. Hold on, man. Because I'm asking the question, Essence. You know what I mean? That's what human beings do. They question things, or at least they should. All these scientific facts and everything you post and you said and throughout your video. Yes, we know transgenders exist in human. Of course, they're here now. My question is, why is it happening more frequently? You saying that they happen. You saying that there's evidence of them before doesn't prove that it's not happening at a greater rate now. You're just saying they happened before, which I agree with you with. In my estimation, it's happening at a higher degree, and it's moved beyond. They're just comfortable now, and they can just come out now without fear. It's moved beyond that, obviously. But I mean, you can be in denial about that, Essence.
Where's your evidence for that? You just reasserted your tinfoil bullcrap as if that addressed my point. There's a massive difference between asking a genuine question and presupposing the answer you want. If you believe the number of trans people have increased, prove that. Design a statistical model that demonstrates how the number of trans people has increased, taking into account societal awareness due to greater connectivity, such as via the internet, and lessening stigma. Until you have that point demonstrated, the question you ask is utter crap, even if you keep throwing out that stupid buzz phrase, common sense. Common sense is just a stand-in for I'm talking absolute shite, but trust me, I'm some random guy on the internet who can't be bothered to reference. It'd be like me asking you, Hotep, why did you rape that 5-year-old child? You'd be well within your right to ask me what the hell I was on about. What 5-year-old child did you apparently rape? And if I fail to display evidence, you'd have every right to tell me to stop being so dishonest. So all I was asking of you was to do the same. You're like a newborn infant that believes everything outside of their sight doesn't exist. You assume that if you didn't know a portion of our population was trans, and now you do, that the only explanation for this is a change in the number of trans people rather than growing awareness. I didn't just note how trans people have existed throughout history. I noted how the Christian Church, Western colonialism, and Nazi fascism have each attempted to exterminate trans people, and how, whilst things are improving, they're still dire. The total number of trans people who are out of the closet is only going to continue to grow as society gets better at respecting them, as we see with lesbian, gay, and bisexual individuals now.
You know, it's like my son keeps jerking off. Hey, give him some pornography. Like, what the fuck is this shit, man?
It's pretty disgusting how you revel in your own ignorance as if it were a good thing.
Hey, I'm sorry. That's just me. I know a lot of people don't like that. Some people don't like me laughing. I always live. You gotta laugh at yourself. You know what I mean? You know, so you gotta laugh at life sometimes. Essence. So lighten up.
Do tell me why I raised issue with you laughing, because currently all I see is you making the straw man that me having a problem with you propagating active bullshit about an abused demographic in such a fucking careless and clueless manner, something you showed that you are fully aware of, that this is me being anti-laughter. It isn't. But the ignorance you spread is a disease that can, has, and will continue to put trans people at risk. That is my problem. So, why does masturbation scare you so much? That likely wasn't as effective as you thought.
I was making the point that if you don't feed the beast, you know, man, if you had a child that's a chronic masturbator, you don't just give them more things to masturbate on. I don't understand that. It's not the fear of masturbation. I was making the extreme point. If there was a chronic masturbator, you don't feed the beast. You're trying to stop the behavior. And the same thing that I think what's important about you say the child wants to wear a dress, the boy wants to wear. I think the more important say, instead of giving them the dress, is find out why they want to wear the dress. You know what I'm saying? I'm confused here. At one point you'll say you could be gender is fluid and everything else, but the other thing is there's clear lines here. You see what I'm saying? Well, you're saying he wants to be a girl or dressed like a girl. But I don't get it, man. If that's the case, what is a girl if it doesn't even exist?
If you don't know, yet you want to speak on it, then it's on you to educate yourself, not spread bullcrap to your thoughtless drones. None of your viewers are going to actually help you understand. I actually attempted. Yeah, I was stern, but you were a full-grown adult spreading harmful misinformation without any sort of basis. I mean, what evidence are you working off to compare a child exploring their expression, whether they are trans or not, to a chronic masturbator? It's that key word that keeps coming back. Evidence. Each and every time I find you lacking, and yet you sit there defending your willful ignorance. You have one of the greatest tools for discovery at your fingers, and yet you'd wallow in your own speculation. I want you to get off your fucking ass and stop being so damn intellectually lazy. I want you to not simply think, but research to better inform said thoughts. If you don't know the information, how can your thoughts produce anything productive?
Persistent about the gender dysphoria, she says. It's not something the child says one time and it goes away. For critics who question whether preschool-age kids should be allowed to socially transition, Essenceofthought says, we expect a 2-year-old to know I'm a boy. I am a girl. So why can't that apply to transgender children?
It's a valid argument, so simply following it by an exclamation to downplay what the science has shown us does not act as an effective counter. All you are doing is showing us just how lacking you are.
I mean, science, this is psychology, and that's a different ball game, because I think that leaves up interpretations of things. I don't think it's like science, like a chemical reaction or anything like that. How we all are interpreting. The chemical reaction is why people want to do this, and that's what we have to figure out. But, I just had a child, and, she's 4 now, and I think sometimes children get confused, you know what I mean? You have to correct them, she said so a couple times, boy, I'm a boy, you know what I mean? At some times I think she was playing, but I think if you encourage that, now let's say if I encouraged that and kept saying, yeah, you're a boy, she would start to act like one. You see what I'm saying? That's what I think is going on. Not all this this natural occurrences that I admit happen in human life, but what today is going on is a lot more of encouragement and brainwashing. I mean, if you want to be frank.
And your evidence is what? What's your evidence? What are you basing this claim off of? If you want to pick apart the study that was being discussed, which noted how specialists identified key differences between trans children and cis children simply exploring their gender expression outside of classical gender roles, then read the damn study and do a scientific breakdown of its weaknesses. Don't just bloody sit there and roll out anecdotes. Even if you don't like psychology because you're incapable of grasping both the qualitative and quantitative aspects, at least I'm bloody trying to improve the quality of conversation in moving it away from your garbage anecdotes and conspiracy theories and towards something documented and peer-reviewed. If you could mold your child's mind in the way you're pretending, then explain to me why trans people existed in the first place. Surely, trans people, if you are correct, should have just molded into whatever they raised into, as you are asserting here with cis children, and yet we don't see that. Why? How do you account for this? Because currently this skewers your hypothesis. Meanwhile, you want to be able to assert bullcrap to your audience and claim that anyone criticizing you needs to lighten up because you are, quote, just asking questions. That's not how this works. You want to assert you believe. I have every right to show you up in asking, why do you believe?
They're just putting them in dresses anyway. Like, hey, wear a dress.
You follow that segment with about 20 seconds of silence as if you made a hard-hitting point. You hadn't. The children are being off.
I made that sigh of silence because I can't believe that's what's going on. You know what I mean? It wasn't about a hard-hitting point. It was like, man, this is what society has come to. Yeah, this is what we're doing to our children. That was my point. That was the reason for the moment of silence. Because I can't believe it, that this was what we're doing to these children.
What are we doing to our children? You keep asserting that time and time again, and I just keep coming back to ask, where's the evidence? I can point out how attempting to change a person's gender or sexuality causes such measurable harm that it's classed as an international human rights violation, if you want, because all evidence shows us that you're talking total toss. But where's your evidence? Where's your evidence that trans people are the result of brainwashing? Where's your evidence that a person can have their gender changed? Come on, show us your mettle. Here's the facts, however. Half of young trans people have attempted suicide once in the past year due to increased depression and anxiety. Meanwhile, children who are supported in their identities showed no increase in either depression or anxiety when compared to a cisgender control, i.e. a non-trans control group of the same ages and backgrounds. And the link has been demonstrated to be more than simply correlative.
I don't believe that, because you'll there's still studies where say that trans people, even after, still have a higher suicide rate, depression, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean?
No, since nowhere do you even attempt to supply this apparent study. Now, I've heard this assertion a lot, but I've never actually seen it defended or the study actually referenced. I don't know if it's a pure myth or if there is a study that influenced this claim, and if so, how it was done so. Note that you asserted that you don't believe what I just said, even though when I made my statement, on screen references numbers 8, 9, 10 and 11 appeared, which correlate with the references 8, 9, 10 and 11 as well as 12, as I was about to go on to discuss that, in both the video description and the transcript for my video. Those references were peer-reviewed journal articles and a university study as seen in reference 12. You saying you don't believe it doesn't fucking matter. Reality is not bound to your whims. Now you went back and replayed that segment. When compared to a cisgender control, i.e. a non-trans control group of the same ages and backgrounds.
That's not true. You know it's not true. You know, because that's to say. I mean, you said it's more accepted now. A lot more accepted now. They're still accepting ones that commit suicide at a higher rate than this cisgender counterparts when they reach adulthood, whenever. Like, is this guy serious with this?
Me acknowledging how things have gotten better does not equal me stating that things are perfect or even decent. The abolition of slavery unquestionably improved the lives of those who had been enslaved. Did that fact magically end the abuse against said groups? In the history segment you left out, I discussed the systematic eradication of trans people. The fact that they were put into concentration camps by the Nazis, and that elsewhere their existence was criminal. In the West, that no longer occurs. Yet that's not the end-all to discrimination. The fact remains that you are a cheap liar. The studies I used and referenced that you just brushed aside for seemingly other non-existent research, compared trans children from supportive families to cis children of the same socioeconomic background and found their depression and anxiety to be equal. Now, the study using trans children from supportive families does not then mean that all trans children are in supportive families. The majority are not. Hence, when we look at the general trans population, we see high levels of depression and anxiety. That's what the studies I supplied show. Too bad you don't give two shits about reality.
Anyway, I'm not going to bore y'all with this anymore.
So let me get this straight. Me using actual science to back up my point is boring, whilst you shitting out of your mouth is perfectly okay. Bloody hell, you're just a fucking tosser.
The point I was trying, like I said, the point I was trying to make, I think some ulterior motives are here, are being used. You can call me conspiracy theorist, Alex Jones, frogs in the water, whatever you want to call it. I think this has been exploited. You have to say, if your whole body's chemical reactions, right? Now, if they can copy they say they study transgender people, and they study the brain, the chemical reactions of a transgender person versus a quote unquote cisgender person. They can spot the differences. And once they know the differences, they can replicate the thing that the transgender easily. I mean, that's common sense here.
And the evidence for all of the crap you just spewed is what? Oh wait, fuck all as per usual. You and your viewers who talk about facts and reality but refuse to listen to actual research are a bunch of bloody shit spewing tools. And no, I have no respect for people such as yourself. You misinform, and when said misinformation is highlighted, you wallow in your lies.
They did the science. It's funny. Science has become a new religion. And he mentioned like Christianity in here. I'm not the most religious person. I'm not a Christian, whatever you want to call it.
So let me get this perfectly clear. You're willing to claim that you don't believe me because of some apparent study, never referenced, never named by you, whilst at the same time claiming that all of the research I laid plainly at your feet is somehow part of some new religion of science. Why is your imaginary study spared being part of the religion of science, yet my actual studies, which I can demonstrate exist, aren't? Can you say double standard? Fact is, no. I just like to base what I think on information I haven't pulled out my ass, like you very clearly do. I'm not making these, what I mean to say is, now everybody believes in whatever, you know what I mean, a power greater than themselves, God, or whatever, Allah, whatever you want to call it. Some people do, some people don't, but some of these people like himself that just believe in science, and science has become a new religion. You know what I'm saying? And they just go all in on it, not knowing if you say there can be lies in organized religion, well, why can't there be lies in science? Because they're just, people don't think, man. People don't think the powers that be can lie to them, and he's one of them guys, man. The powers that be, they're right all the time. Like, they're just trying to control you. Jeez, man, this guy's a piece of work, man. He really is a piece of work. The whole point of my video. The projection involved in defending your blatant and demonstrable lies against factual information on the basis that there's apparently some great cabal behind science is just fucking ridiculous. It, along with you, is truly a putrid standard of discussion. Here I came looking for evidence, research and argument, only to watch you spend 17 minutes orally defecating and then flinging the results at me. Please, by all means, if you don't trust science, why don't you take some cyanide and see what happens? Or how about this little fact? You're using a camera. Electricity, circuitry, all of these things applied science. It seems using science when it agrees with you, that's okay. The moment science calls out your bullshit, suddenly science, cabal, conspiracy, tinfoil hats for everybody. By all means, you and your little shit crew can play in the filth all you want, consolidating your echo chamber against the mounting evidence that threatens to destroy your world were a single crack to appear in your defences. Meanwhile, people can go and watch my original video and see that I presented the information we have currently available and discussed it in depth, not relying on my gut feeling. Or they can watch my even newer video on the topic, which goes even further into detail. But ultimately, what this actually all deals with is your original anger over the fact that you couldn't bully children at a transgender kid camp, or I should say a transgender inclusive kid camp. That was the original anger. You know, there was a camp, it was inclusive of trans children, they were asked their pronouns at the start and day, etc., and it didn't affect their activities. That was all that was being discussed, and you were just enraged in your little Trump hat at the fact that, you know, oh my God, I can't bully these children. These children are given a place where they are respected, where they are allowed to explore their autonomy in a way that has no negative impact, and I can't hurt them. Therefore, this is evil liberal propaganda. I must hurt these children. Why can't I hurt these children? That was your original video when you broke it down into its segments. I find that completely vile, and your attempts to present this as just asking questions when no, you're not just asking questions, you are actually attempting to assert things under the guise of just asking questions, and then when you get called out over that, you laugh and giggle and play the fool and, oh, this person's just so silly, I have evidence, I'm not going to bother to give the evidence, but I have it, and I'm going to say it's research, I'm not going to supply it, but then I'm going to say their research, you can't trust their research, but you can trust my research, which I'm not even going to link. You know, it was all just so ridiculous. Yet, I guess I was proven the fool in one regard. I tried to play chess with a pigeon. Hi there, I decided to say a few things here at the end of the video before you go. First, I'd like to thank everyone who has ever donated to the channel via Patreon, giving a special thanks to the following people: Hannah Banghart, Trevor Matheson, Matthew Kovac, John Schoenrock, Gonzalo Williams, and of course Daniel Martinez. Your support has ensured this channel its ability to grow over the years. I'd also like to ask that you comment down below and like this video, as well as subscribe and follow Essence of Thought on Facebook and YouTube. Please also consider following Atheist Alliance International on Facebook, an organisation dedicated to helping atheists around the globe. Thank you.